Robert S. Kerr put a lot of money into that with you, didn't he?
He promised me, that said, Bill, if you get out, I said, well, my plan will be this, sell as many subscribers as I can, I'm not only raising the money, but I knew if I could sell 60 or 70 or 80,000 subscribers at whatever price, they were going to subscribe that paper. And they did. It was absolutely guaranteed subscribers list. Robert S. Kerr was in perfect health. We didn't expect him to pass away such as he did.
Mm-hmm.
About 3 or 4 months before the paper first came out. And the deal was, I raised the money, I get the paper started, he called the president of Gosh. I went to Fort Worth, and in Chicago, and I sold him the president of the company on building our press, and it was the first press to ever be built on which a daily paper was published. You didn't know that. So it was a first. And he said, if you'll experiment with it, I will. And we did. Paid a pretty penny for it. And they had a man come over from Germany to put it together. I'll never forget that. So we were off and running. And then just a few months before I was supposed to collect the other $2.5 million, I had $2.5 million in the bank. And I was waiting for the other $2.5 million, and unfortunately for the state, Senator Robert S. Kerr died. Unfortunate, the fact that he died, not just for the paper. But in spite of that, we lasted 15 years, and when we sold the stockholders, paid them back after we sold the paper, a lot of people are not aware that they paid $2 a share for the stock, but we paid them back $2.50. And a lot of them were just thrilled to death.
And you had at one time as many as 250 employees at the Oklahoma Journal.
And sizable staff.
Mr. Atkinson is responsible for bringing people to town like Al Ashback, but we've forgiven him for that. No, only kidding, Al.
Yeah, that's right. Al's quite
you know, if I were to break your life story down, and my God, you know, most people at age 65 retire and go fishing, and here's a man that is right now developing what is called a city within a city, and I want to talk to you, though we're going to take a break, and we're going to come back and talk about that, but we'd probably have to do like 4 shows here, and we could talk about your days as the founder of Midwest City, your days as the publisher of a fabulous newspaper, your days as now building a city. You know, it could go on, and obviously we're not going to be able to touch everything we want to talk to Mr. Atkinson about today, but we're going to do the best we can.
You might do it in a week, you know.
And we're going to take a break. Well, it's taken you your whole life to live it, you know. But it is fascinating. We're really happy you're here today. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back with WP Bill Atkinson and more of Sunday PM when we continue in just a moment. Stay with us.
KOKH 25 and Mercy Health Center really care about the family.
A 43-year-old man came to my office and said, I have a problem. I've lost my job. I reminded him that it wasn't just his problem, but a challenge for his whole family. There are constructive things each family member can do to manage the crisis. Teenagers can get after-school jobs. Grade schoolers can clip newspaper coupons to help save on the grocery bill. And everyone can search the newspaper for job openings or help wanted ads. Losing a job can create stress that can pull a family apart, or it can create opportunities to bring a family together in surprising new ways.
Through every stage of life, Mercy Health Center provides medical care, education, and support for family health and well-being. Mercy and KOKH 25 really care about the family.
Welcome back to Sunday PM, where my special guest this evening is WP Bill Atkinson, the founder of Midwest City, and of course many other things to talk about. And if you were writing a biography of this gentleman, I think the book would be very thick, and maybe several additions, because there's a lot of additions to your life, and one of those is a political background. You of course ran for governor in the state of Oklahoma against Henry Bellman. What year was that, Mr. Atkinson?
Now, wait a minute. I ran twice.
You ran twice?
Yes. The first time I ran, a Democratic nominee, it looked like everyone in the Senate was going to run against me, and most of them did. lot of funny things happened in that election. But I was way ahead of the hounds. Now,
who did you run against that first time out? Was that Bellman?
No. So, Howard Edmondson was the one that won, but he started at the bottom. And that's a long, long story there. There's 14 or 15 people in that race. And
Edmondson subsequently became governor, was elected governor that time.
He was elected overwhelmingly, the way things turned out. Now, I'll tell you, I was in the polls, I was leading way out in front. And here's what happened to me very quickly. I was well known for some of these things you've been talking about and a few other things. I brought the atomic energy here. Now I'm bragging again, but I brought that here single-handedly. I'd like to tell you about that sometime. By God, I'll just tell you now. I went to see Senator Kerr, and I said, I think the atomic energy show ought to be brought to Oklahoma City. Said, I've already tried to get it, and they won't let us have it. Ronnie told me the same thing, and they said, you go and give them a try. So they gave me the name of the head man. I said, listen, why show this in Geneva? Why spend all this kind of money? Then come back and show it to Washington and not show it in the center of the United States. And I had my maps and everything. I said, please, after you've made this investment in as much as atomic energy is going to mean to our state and to the nation and to the world, surely you want to show it in Oklahoma City. So finally this fellow caved in a little bit, and he said, I'll tell you what, Bill. He said, if you can raise $50,000 to get it down there, that if you have enough people, scientists there that we can train them to come down, you'll take care of the insurance. I said, we'll just do anything to get down there. You just name it. And so then I came back immediately and advised very quietly, now when you're doing something worthwhile and is of some value, you don't go around and tell everyone, or you'll never get it. Other states bet against you.
Sure.
So I kept
better keep it kind of quiet.
Extremely quiet. But we did that, and we did bring the atomic energy show here, and it was extremely successful, very successful.
Well, on the second time around, you ran against Bellman. Is that you were the Democratic nominee?
I was telling you why I was so well known over the state. That's why
I understand.
I had the list. You're correct. So then Leo Winters, you remember him?
Sure.
Hope he's listening to this show. I won't say anything now because of a lawsuit, but I'm going to say...
I think he was the treasurer.
He was the treasurer. I didn't get along with Leo Winters. He came into my office as soon as I was a Democratic nominee. He said, Bill, I want you to refund what I paid out in my race, and it's $50,000, and I will be for you. I said, Leo, I don't do business like that. I'm bragging again, but I've never given a bribe. Very few people have ever asked me for one because they know I don't operate like that. And I said, I would consider that a payoff, and I won't do it. No way. And I'll never forget, he put his soaking wet raincoat on one of my good chairs. I asked him if he'd please move it. And so finally I just got up and I said, Leo, we're wasting our time. We're getting nowhere. He said, well, I'm going to go work with Bellman. Yeah, that was...
Well, you bring up something very interesting there in politics and what it takes to get elected governor. And I know you're very aware of what's happening right now with Governor Walters. Do you feel that Governor Walters is getting a bum rap by the paper or by perhaps even people in his own party? Or is, in fact, do you feel... I mean, hasn't this kind of politics been going on for a long time in this state? You give me a few bucks to get elected, and I'll help you later. I mean, it's not uncommon, is it?
Well, I believe you would normally answer that. That's in the hands of the proper people, and they're checking it out. I'm hoping he gets a clear bill of health. He's a very smart young man, no question about it. One of the best scholastic background records that I've ever known to run for governor. And he should make an excellent governor. And let us all hope that everything clears up so he will can be effective.